Hey, you know, folks, Páirtí, Quinlan, Dublin West representative for the National Party. I'm out here today on Kildare Street. Just wanted to talk to us about kind of what the party's been up to, what we've been engaged in on the ground. So there was a vigil held here in the city over at Parnell Square last night at about 8 p.m. for the victims of that vicious assault, which left several people in hospital. One child is still in critical condition at this time that we know about. Hopefully she makes a full recovery, and this it's just a bad memory for her. I know I won't forgive it, and I won't forget what happened or the negligence on the part of these people in the Dáil here behind me today that enabled that attack to happen, because that's what we have to remember, that it's the policies of government that have enabled this type of stuff to happen on our streets. So last night when we attended the vigil, we didn't bring any party gear and like that. The plan wasn't to go and take photos or do a photo drop or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's a bit beneath us as human beings, to be honest. Like, we're not trying to capitalise on anyone's shortcomings due to government's failure of action. So essentially, we were there, a couple of people gathered, 50, 60, 70 people gathered, lit candles. But what happened was, as we were there for about 5 minutes, 2 Garda cars and Mariah vans showed up and basically just started marching towards the crowd. So myself and another member of the party approached the Gardaí, informed them what was happening, that it was a peaceful vigil, and that was where we were going. That's what we were going to be doing. There was absolutely no need for them to be there. The mothers in the crowd, off the mothers and stuff that were there with their children, was that they found that approach by Gardaí very intimidating. We gave them that feedback. They took that feedback on board, as the Gardaí would, and stayed in the area and continued to try and intimidate people with their presence. The crowd wasn't intimidated. Prayer broke out. People said a decade of the rosary. Shortly thereafter then, about half an hour later, the crowd dispersed after showing its respect and wishing the victims well with their recovery. And then essentially then myself and the members of the party that were in attendance at that peaceful vigil decided that we would come up to Kildare Street and unfold myself and members of the party decided to come up to Kildare Street with the Will They Shut You Up banner in relation to the government's proposition for hate speech legislation, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of real talk about how this vicious assault happened, how it was enabled by government, by the lax immigration policies and stuff like this. It seems to be a lot of talk about the commotion that happened thereafter and the need now for hate speech and facial recognition to essentially quell dissent in the city. So we came up here, we unfurled the banner. We were here for about a minute, myself and a couple of members of the party, and essentially what happened then was that a Garda car pulled up, 4 Gardaí were in the car. They parked at the side of the street, they just observed what we were doing. As I said, we were there for about a minute, unfurled the banner, got the photo, we were wrapping things up, getting ready to leave. And as we were leaving then, the 4 Gardaí in the car decided to have a polite conversation with us, the usual. No big comeuppance or anything like that. It was when the superintendent arrived is when things started to go a bit astray, let's say, when the real mask was starting to slip of what the actual state is engaged in with activists on the ground. Exactly what happened was, superintendent, what are you here for? Where are you from? What's the plan? You know what I mean? National Party, Páirtí, Quinlan, doing a banner drop. You know, we're in and out within a minute. Came here this hour of the night because we didn't want to do a breach of the peace under Section 8 of the Public Order Act. He seemed to not really appreciate that. And then he started making demands of lads to knock off the camera, to stop recording.
Turn it off now.
That's all there. You'll see that footage coming up there now. The way in which that guard decided to deal with us was then order us to leave the area after getting our details, to then order us to leave the area under Section 8 of the Public Order Act, when we were already on our way out of the area and were in fact stopped by the guard on the way out of the area and then asked and harassed about what we were doing, where we were from, what we were planning. There was a couple of things that particular superintendent said that I found very interesting. One was, what's on the banner? Well, what's on the banner is, will they shut you up? His response to that was, It was almost like he was trying to make his mind up on whether or not to actually charge us with something. And then as well, he made a comment that we were being watched for the last 7 minutes on camera, which could only indicate that we were being watched from Parnell Square, because it's about a 7-10 minute walk up to Kildare Street from Parnell Square. Comments made about AI facial recognition. Have you been in the city recently? No. Don't care about AI facial recognition. We're totally against it. That's what the banner's about. That was basically it then. We packed up, we left. But I find it very interesting that state is monitoring activists on the ground, trying to intimidate activists on the ground, when at the same time, roughly about the same time, violence and knife crime is absolutely skyrocketing in this country. What we need to do is, I understand like people are angry on the ground, they're frustrated, they want action, they want change. It's not going to happen immediately overnight. I know people find that hard to listen to, and trust me, I'm sick of saying it, because nobody wants change in this country right now more than I do, especially after that vicious attack and the heinous assault on our people. But you need to be smart, you need to box clever, you need to hit them where it hurts in the ballot box. Get active, join the National Party. We'll organise on the ground, continue to do our banner drops, continue to push the message Ireland belongs to the Irish people, and nor them or any other mouthpiece from the NGO sector, the media or the government are going to shut us up. Yes, you're right.